after that, you carried on for another year, and then you actually took a break from horse racing. You decided you were sort of taking a step back from the sport. And now, like I was saying to you before we got on this, I thought you were really harshly done by the media for the way they described it. Because you said that one quote where you think, all I could do was give up. But then if you watch the interviews, that's not what you meant at all. And they took that short stay and just went, oh, that's going to get the headline. But I kind of want to talk about your break because you did it for, I want you to explain it because I don't want to put words in your mouth. So tell us about the break.
Yeah, well, look, I building up to the break, really, I had stuff going on in my life that, you know, made things difficult, and it then affected my weight, and so that was bad, and something had to give, you know, and I had to do to change the course of my life. I didn't like the person that I'd become, you know, like just because I was miserable through having to sweat too much and lose weight and things like that. So I gave up, and you know, at the time it was a huge relief. You know, I did feel for a long time felt huge relief because I didn't have to worry about what I was eating, doing, drinking. You know, it was, you know, suddenly life was less stressful for a little while. So I took the time away. I met my now wife just before I retired, or took time off, and then we built a life together. We got engaged, we got married, we had kids, and then, you know, there was something. I became assistant trainer to Sandy Thompson, and when he offered me that job, I suddenly thought, maybe, you know, perhaps I should give being a jockey another go, because I definitely worked out that I gave up too soon. I did it for the wrong reasons. You know, I did it because, you know, I didn't do it because I wasn't enjoying my racing. It was just personal circumstances that dictated to me, you know, almost pushed me to do it. And, you know, I was in a real good place, happily married, kids, and I thought, why not give this another go? And well, I'm very, very glad that I did. As I say, it's gone so well. And you know, you go out there every day and you do it for your wife and your kids, and you've got a real reason to be out there risking your life and driving the miles and riding these mad horses.
No, you smashed it. And like I said, as I said to you before we came on, when they said you gave, I hate to say the phrase you gave up because that's the furthest thing from the truth. You took a break from horse racing, and then, like you said, you got married. You met your now wife. you had kids. You've watched your kids grow up for a wee bit. That's a very successful time off in my point of view.
Well, that's it. It's hard to say. Like, I cannot say that I regret taking the time because of what's happened. Like, I genuinely would not have been married had I kept racing, because I wasn't a nice person. It wouldn't the relationship wouldn't have lasted. So I've taken the time. I've got myself sorted. And the one thing that I was slightly annoyed about was when I had the Cheltenham winner, they tried to turn it into mental health issues. I didn't have mental health issues. I just, you know, I was just having a bit of a shit time. Forgive me, my friend. You know, it was.
It's a Scottish podcast. You can swear if you want.
Having a shit time, and it was nothing to do with mental health. And whilst I agree, everybody, you know, there's a lot of people have mental health issues, but I at the time I wasn't one of them, and they tried to turn it into that, and it wasn't. I needed to take time to sort myself out, and as I say, started a family, and that's, I cannot regret that in the slightest.
Exactly that. I'm an ambassador for a mental health group, and then I try to say that to people that there's such a difference between having mental health issues and just everybody has shit days, and you're allowed to have a shit day. It's like you don't have to get out of bed like singing and dancing every day.
Yeah. People, I think that's what I mean. You have to differentiate what's mental health and what's just a shit day. Like, it's so true. And I do think, and I don't want to slag anyone off, but I do think people are too quick to say, "Oh, I've got mental health issues," when actually you are just having a shit day, and it does just happen.
Well, I think a good thing is like what you said. I think a lot of other people tell them that as well. I think a lot of people have gone, "You've got mental health issues," going, actually, mate, that person's just having a bit of a shit day, which is perfectly all right to have. Like,
yeah. Well, I know a couple of people that, you know, they've been diagnosed with depression, and all the doctor does is say, "Oh, here's some pills."
yeah,
And quite honestly, all they need is someone to speak to. They've got
yeah,
problems, a few bit of crap going on. All they need is someone to sit there and listen. They don't need to be on medication, and that's something I feel quite strongly about. But it's fair, I can't really do anything about it. But you know, if any of my friends are ever having a shit time, that's all I try and do is to try and speak to them and to try and help and hopefully make them feel a bit better. And sometimes all you need is a good night with your mates to realize that actually you're okay.
no, exactly. I couldn't put it into any better words myself. Sometimes you just need your mate to put an arm around you and go, tell me what's up, and I'll see how I can help if I can't help.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right. Well, anyway, right, so 2019, I'm going to say the worst pun I've ever said, but you're back on the horse. So I didn't even have that one written down. I wish I had, because it'd be a bit less cringy if I had, but that one came to me. So 2019, you're back on the horse. For all I know, this could be a lie based on racing TV statistics, but you're back in air, you're racing in air, and it's Fair Minx is the horse you're on. I had this one written down.
Yeah, no, you've got that one. Yep, that
hey,
right.
Racing TV, I'm the messenger. So how did that feel when did the crowd have any sort of acknowledgement that you were returning to racing? Had it been a bit of a build up, or did you just kind of want to sweep back in under the radar?
I feel like I swept in quite under the radar, actually. You know, there was obviously a little bit in the Racing Post and things, but I did actually manage to just sort of quietly sneak back into it. And the strangest thing of all was that it felt like I'd never been away. You know, it genuinely, you know, all the lads in the weighing room, there wasn't much change there, and they were all, well, relatively happy to see me. They're all saying I was mad. You know, you've been away. What have you came back for? You managed to get out. What are you doing? And I was like, well, so that it was a great feeling being back. And as I say, everyone was so accepting and so nice. And I had 2 rides that day, and I honestly, it didn't feel like I'd been away. And that was an assurance enough for me to know that you'd done the right thing. Like I was confident that I still had it in me, but you just don't know until you get back.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was nice to have that assurance. It was really nice. Really nice.
Amazing. And then so fresh off that, not even 13, just under 2 weeks later, first winner's back again at your favourite ground of Kelso.
Hey, Kelso,
How was that?
I thought you were going to tell me the name of it there. It was Cavantara, and it was strange that it had to be Kelso. You know, like that wasn't planned. It wasn't like that's where I tried to have my first winner, but you know, it's my favorite track, home track, and it was just, you know, it was a huge sigh of relief to get that first winner out the way, and again, it's more just a reassurance that you're able to do the job, and that, you know, that first winner was great, and it got the ball rolling. You know, we had a fair few winners after that, and it really got me going, and yeah, it felt great.
I'm buzzing for you. I truly was buzzing for you. So that's a nice little thing there. So
thanks,
right, we've got to look after each other in the Borders. It's a big world, but then all the Borders kids seem to do all right.
The Borders is a very small world.
Everybody, there's no such thing as secrets in the Borders.
No, and what they don't know, they make up. So
I know, and even if it's still boring, they just exaggerate that rumor a bit more just to keep the time going.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the future for Ryan Mania holds now that he's either post racing, or is there any goals for the racing career?
Yeah, I've got one goal, and that is to ride a Grade 1 winner. I haven't ridden the Grade 1 winner, so that is to be ticked off the list. So I won't be retiring again until I've managed that.
Amazing.
Unless, of course, I get to 40. Oh God, I can't do this anymore. But honestly, I just want to keep riding, keep everybody happy as much as I can, just keep enjoying it. And as I say, if I can ride that Grade 1 winner, then great. But if not, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But as I say, it's I've got such a different outcome or outlook, sorry, I should say, now with my kids, seeing them growing up, and taking an interest in what's going on, and I mean it when I say, as much as I love racing, I'm doing it for them. You're making a living. That's what you're doing it for. You make money. You're doing it to keep your family. And that's, no matter how bad a day I have at the races, I go home to my kids, and you forget all about it. And it's a completely, it's a different world now to what I was living in before I took the time off. And so yeah, it's really, really, really good. And so long as that continues, if I can ride until I'm 40, then I'll be delighted, basically.
Well, that sounds like a great goal to have, and it sounds like you're doing it for the right reasons. So I very much support you in that, and I'll be watching all the Grade 1 attempts that you're going for. I'm sure it won't take you that long. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll not. I wouldn't like to say, but I didn't think I'd ride a Cheltenham winner. So here's hoping that we ride a Grade 1 winner as well. So
exactly.